Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to the VIP series here in the morning. And our first thing is going to be to get these tomatoes over. So if you're new to the series, not sure what's happening here, the series is based primarily around the VIP order manager. This is the main interaction with that. Basically, think of the VIP order manager as, in essence, a quest system. You've got orders from VIPs that you need to fill. You get a little bit of a future-looking view of what you're going to need to do in future levels. I've been working pretty hard to get myself set to be able to do most of the work in the levels, but not quite there with canola. If you've watched the last episodes, I've just done that recently. So we're going to Moondog's Farmer's Market. Moondog's is here. So I've got to head down that way. You can see my greenhouses are starting to output lettuce. So that's the next thing I will need out of them. I'm going to need 28,000 liters. I need eggs at some point, so you can see I've got stacks and stacks of eggs. I think at this point I may just let it fill and just keep getting the error that things are full. So I'm waiting for the barley to grow. I'm still not done with that. That's something I'm going to need, and then I'm going to repurpose all those fields to canola. So that's really part of what I'm waiting on after I do this. So the real benefit here, and all I know that I'm going to do, is I'm going to sell these, and then I'm going to see what level 16 orders look like, which will perhaps give me some additional things to do. But right now, other than that, I'm sitting around waiting for crops. So depending on what shows up in level 16, I may just jump ahead several days until I can actually do something useful. I'm stuck on something. I'm hoping I can get out. Alright, I was having a little bit of goofy problem where the steering wasn't as sensitive as it needed to be. So I was just really having a hard time driving. I've gone ahead and selected the profile for the Logitech wheel. Hopefully that will work, but if I drive erratically, then I apologize, because obviously sometimes it's just not a perfect thing with Farming Simulator. I don't know why. I mean, it still seems a little bit off here. It just seems far too responsive immediately, and then not responsive enough a split second later, which is a really weird feeling. It's like you immediately turn quite sharply, and then suddenly you stop until the wheel moves another 90 degrees, and then it finally starts to move again. So that's why it's kind of herky-jerky, because that's kind of how the control is working. But this has been a long time coming. I didn't take a look before I started here how many episodes it's been that I've in essence been hanging out at level 12 waiting for tomatoes to grow and just trying to keep myself busy and do other things. So my canola field is down there. It just got planted yesterday. So it's got a long ways to go, because canola takes 8 cycles, really 9. Everything's, the cycle is the last day. That's technically 8 of 8, is a forage stage, which is not what I need. I need actual canola. So you gotta wait till ready to harvest, which is the day after the forage point. So it's always one further. So if you've got a crop that has 4 growth cycles, you're really waiting 5 days, etc. But the thing I like about the VIP order manager is it gives a purpose and kind of extends for me the enjoyment of a single player game, in the fact that I'm not just randomly doing things. I'm doing things with a goal. So it kind of gives me a target, as opposed to standard farming simulator where it's, well, I'm running this farm and you're in essence creating your own environment. You know, some people go as far, and sometimes I'll do that, is to be like, all right, I'm role playing in this game, and I'm doing this and this. I mean, survival series are great examples of that. But even those, it's like what you choose to do and how you choose to do it, and especially once you get going and you're kind of out of the survival mode and you're entering into the farm mode, is like, all right, now I'm just planning things and I'm randomly picking things, and maybe I've done a little bit of thought of, hey, this is going to give me more money. You can see my tomatoes going down, so the VIP order manager will show you that. I needed 10,500, so I brought 11,000. I needed 502. So that should be more than enough, and then we'll get our bonus of 21,200. And I apologize, I haven't changed my currency. I'm not going to restart and do whatever, because it's just a currency symbol. It all works the same. So now we're in pounds as we're supposed to be. So this is kind of a pseudo roleplay series. You know, I inherited this farm from my uncle. That's how I ended up here, if you go all the way back to episode 1. And you know, decided to get into the world of farming, and this is what I'm doing, where he had some agreements with local VIPs in town, and they were willing to work with me, and we've grown over time. So once I get back to the farm, that's kind of what I normally do, get myself back, because otherwise I'm going to have to do that anyway. But that way, we'll take a look at level 16, we'll see where we're at, and if there's nothing specific that I can do, because obviously if it's additional crops, I don't have any open fields, so forth and so on. Like, if there's nothing I can work towards that creates any other jobs for me, we'll just take a look and see where we're at and go from there. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so here on the farm, like, this greenhouse still has an output, a pallet of lettuce. I think I went to bed at 2200 or so, woke up at 8, so you can see, like, lettuce takes some time. Now, okay, it is 500 liters per container, so again, to get 28,000, I'm basically going to need a couple trailers full, because normally a full trailer I can take 3 levels, and each level will get 6,000, so it'll have 12 pallets on it, 3 rows of 4. I don't know if eggs are the same, because they don't show up as liters, so that's going to be interesting. But let's take a look at the VIP orders and see what things look like now. So we're on level 3. You know, and the challenge we've got is the payouts are kind of low, at least for the next 2. Some of that may simply be because there's only 3 things to worry about, and therefore there's only so much extra payout you can get. The other piece is, I do know from working with this mod and just understanding how it works, and the description that the modder put on it, is as you progress in levels, the payout modifier gets lower and lower. So that's why you'll start to see things, you know, kind of drop down based on, you know, whatever's happening. And so over time, they've gone ahead and said, you know, hey, the mod might kind of phase out and become not terribly fun to play. So they said they've tested it through level 20. So that has been my kind of target that I've set. So here we need 5 items, and like level 16 goes up to the same payout level we had. Alright, so we need planks, we need just regular wood, which might actually be good, because I might be able to put wood in and get plank, but then I'm waiting on planks. We need more things out of here, and now we need wool. And then we need cereal. So that is a new one, because I don't own the production to create cereal. I don't own the cereal factory. And the challenge becomes, for example, like I do own a sawmill. I believe this is the only one on the map. So I'm not going to get any cash when I dump things in there. Like as you saw now, when I delivered, I was paid, plus I was given my payout to get myself to the 2.1 million that I'm at now. I got my bonus payout and so forth. So I've got sheep, they're producing wool. I don't have them being fed right now. I guess what I want to do, however, is take a look, because I know each of these pallets I think are 1,000 liters. Yes. So I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only have 8,000 liters. So that's one thing I can get moving on right away, is I can get some grass. I don't remember if I have any cut and waiting. So I think that's what I will do. Because if we look at the fields, like this one's really, really fresh. This is getting close, but we still have basically 2 days. So as I talked about, you can see the growth stage 5 of 6. We've got to get to 6 of 6, and then ready to harvest is the day after that. So in May, this will be ready to go, and so that can be the work, potentially harvest and then replant. The other thing I do need to do at some point is I need to fertilize my canola field. So I'm just going to take a peek here, because I don't know. I think the only thing I can give the sheep is grass. I might be able to do hay. I know I have hay laying on the other field. They eat grass and hay, so that will actually work, although this is not the tractor I want to use with the forage wagon. This one's okay for really small jobs. Now, the thing I don't know is how is the honey backing up, because honey only puts out a pallet at a time. I know the sheep could do other things. Like, you can see the capacity of the wool, but, we're not backed up because there's still room out of the shed to do things. But, I'll go ahead and grab this one and go grab my forage wagon, but you can see I've got stuff out on the field that I can pick up. So I'm intentionally not just keeping everything running and going, because otherwise there'd be a ton of work to do that. And sometimes I just don't need the product. So the focus in this series is very much do things that every minute that I possibly can are having an impact on some VIP order. It may be a future order like what we're doing now, but it's something in the realm of the VIP order. So if I don't need more milk, I'm not feeding the cows. If I don't need more wool, I'm not feeding the sheep more than I need to. And I certainly let things go a bit. Obviously, again, I'm not right now using a lot of straw because I'm not running the TMR mixer, and I'm not getting food to my cows and so forth. So, but that's kind of how it has been functioning, and I know I think get like 11,000 liters into that barn, so I think I'm going to actually limit myself. Alright, I already am to 11,000 in the forage wagon, because obviously that's the last thing I've been doing here. Where when I was putting things in the fermenting silo to get silage for the TMR mixer and so forth, I was collecting as much as I could, because that fermenting silo has some crazy capacity. So we'll get out here on the field with our friends, and then we'll just turn on what we've got. We'll pick up a little bit more hay, and so you kind of get an idea of, the existence of the farm. Everything on the farm, for the most part, has got to do with fulfilling the orders, getting enough money, because again, I'm going to need to buy a cereal mill, and that's going to be the other thing. Like, I'm going to need to grow some grain crop at some point, but before I get ahead of myself, like, the canola is now what I call the long pole in the tent. It's the thing that I need to finish to unlock the next level. And again, it took many, many episodes to get through to level 12. or get through level 12. You know, it could take quite a few to keep going. So, you know, what I'm not trying to do is just kind of find busy work and so forth to do and just give you episodes without any purpose here. And I don't want to imply that there's not a purpose in other situations, you know, because like my FSN farms, they're more traditional farming simulator stuff. Can't use the VIP order manager there. I'm just doing things and it's just playing the game kind of mindlessly with no purpose. So I've got plenty of that going on. You want those episodes. You know, we're up to over, I think, 230 now episodes on Misty Hills. So there's plenty of just farming simulator, doing stuff, repetitively doing it, and so forth. So my single player series that I'm doing kind of as a weekly, you know, these show up on the weekend. I'm using the VIP order manager. I've made the comment before, and I've certainly now settled on that. I don't know that I'll ever play a single player game again in Farming Simulator without using the VIP order manager. I really, really enjoy it. I think it just makes the gameplay more enjoyable for me by far. So that's what you'll see on this channel for single player things. You know, I've done a survival series at one point, and you know, it was okay, but once you get to a certain point, it kind of becomes the same thing, and it's not that interesting. You know, maybe I'll do something at some point, but I'm just not seeing it, so I'll stop trying to think of a time. But here we go. So we'll have this. They should now have what they... I don't know why I got out, because I can look at the animals. I can look at the animals here. So there you go. We're basically full. They're going to start doing their thing. They're going to start getting productive. But at this point, we've kind of got the full sheepfold. So I think I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to move these out of the field because I keep talking about this. But while I've got nothing specific to do right now, you know, I'm going to do that. Can I do both at the same time and maintain that? That would be pretty cool. Instead of having to do it twice. Look at that. Alright. I'm going to move it near the road because there's no reason it shouldn't be there. Because when I pick it up, and I think those are fertilizer if I remember. So I just need to remember to do that. Yes. So it's fertilizer, one full one partial. So a little over 1,500 liters of fertilizer. So when I go fertilize my canola fields, which may be what I'm going to do now. Yeah, let's go do that. So I'll just grab my spreader, and if I have room for 1,500 liters, we'll go pick that up and we'll finally get rid of these pallets, because they've been sitting there for years, for a long time. I'm pretty sure it's been years. Whoop. That's not the spreader. I know the spreader's right there, but... Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, that's probably the one thing on the farm that I don't use, is the sprayer. I think everything else has a realistic possibility, but at this point, we don't have weeds on and so forth again, because it just adds labor with very little benefit. No, we're full on fertilizer, so... just gonna go fertilize, and then when I need more, I'll try to remember again, because I think my problem is I usually just go to the bulk supply and go from there. But obviously at one point I needed to lime fields, and it was not a good... I had fertilizer left over and I had nowhere to put it, because there was no easy way to dump things into my silo, and I felt at that point, I think there is a way, but I have to like put it in a different trailer, and so it's a little bit of a dance with the equipment. But yeah, the planks are far enough out. I'm kind of in the back of my mind, should I look at that? Should I see if I have any Because like the grape juice and stuff that I can deliver for level 13 was done before, when I had some grapes done before. I mean, the nice thing I'm seeing is we didn't get another thing that needs grapes, so that will work. But what I likely need to do is get that cereal mill, because otherwise we might be waiting for that. But then again, we're probably going to be waiting for the strawberries, so not really sure. Alright, so on this large field, I do let Courseplay kind of do things, because it takes a while, and I usually, when I'm playing these, I don't have time to stay focused on it, so that way I just let automation run, and I can at least get the episodes to you in time. So, and being upfront about that, this isn't a manual series. Again, the FSN series do that because we're not allowed to use automation there, so I get my fill of non-automated farming sim there. Ooh, there's some deer coming down the hill. Ooh, he's decided he's going back up. He's decided he's not a mountain goat, and he just wants some grass. Alright, so in theory, this shouldn't take terribly long to fertilize, because it can go pretty quickly. It's a pretty wide spreader. I'm always wondering sometimes that it's stopped, but I think it's just figuring out where the start point is. And I don't remember if it started. I mean, I try to start it right up here, but sometimes it has a mind of its own. But no, there we go. And as you can see, it's going pretty quickly. As far as consumption, we're already down 100 liters. But again, with 14,000, maybe we can finish this. Again, I've got some other stuff left here. I think this is seed. So once again, I'm leaving pallets of stuff laying around my map, and I'm trying to tidy things up a little bit. That would be my goal for sure. But yeah, I definitely wanted to get out here kind of the day after planting, because then I can do things and not worry about potential damage to the crop. Again, in reality, I have crop destruction off just to avoid that, so I can just do things when I decide to do them, but trying to add a little bit of realistic thought to this. You know, you're not wanting to ride over your crops when you can do significant damage to them. And yeah, sometimes, you know, Courseplay doesn't do a great job of getting all the way into the corners, but it's good enough. So while this is happening, I will go look and check out my sawmill. Alright, so we do own Piglet's Sawmill. We have 4,212 planks, and my guess is we already have planks sitting out. So we probably have closer to 10,000 planks. And I have no need for planks ahead of time. Alright, but I need 20,000 planks. So at some point I need to get stuff in there. Again, I normally just cut trees. Again, I hate logging, so it's not something you're going to see, because I just do it the quickest way I can, moving things around with super strength and this and that. It just is what it is. I'm just not going to waste a ton of time doing that. It's not a realism series where I'm torturing myself with that, and it's just a job I don't enjoy in Farming Simulator. It's tedious enough even doing it the other way. So, but what I will do is I will clear out the areas in between my fields. So let's see, because if I'm storing 4,200, I mean, it looks like I've got plenty of room. So it's 3 to 4. All right, let's hop over there. So here we go. So let's see. All right. So we've got, all right, just 2 pallets. All right. So I've got 2,000. I've got 6,000 planks. So if I figure things out correctly, I need about 18,000, 19,000 liters of wood here to then be able to convert that to planks. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do what I need to get that wood over, and I can do that work while I'm having the fertilizer get laid down. But you can see, like, this is what I'm talking about, so we'll head down so that you can see where I'm going to go ahead and work on this. But basically that field division, you can see this one here, it used to have trees as well. And so now I'm going to target the trees in between here. I'm going to take these out, and once again, like if they're pines and whatever, they're a little bit easier to log, but these things are so scraggly, like cutting things and whatever, it's just not fun. So, but I'm going to work on these. I don't know that I'm going to need all of them to get 19,000 liters, but I darn well might. So I'm going to get cracking on that, and we'll see what things look like in a bit, and I'll be back when I've got something else to share with you. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I am done with fertilizing the field. So not actually that bad. About 3 hours. As I said, should be pretty quick. You can see we got a little less than half of what we had in there full. I'm going to go ahead and grab, just verify these are seeds. Because obviously if it's fertilizer, I'd grab it too, but I'm pretty sure I saw the seed symbol. No, it's lime, actually, I think. Yep, it's lime. So that's going to be probably even less likely to be needed, although the nitrogen value is good here, so it may fall to bad after the canola harvest. We'll have to see how that all pans out, but not something to worry about today. But obviously, yes, I'm trying to get a good amount of harvest off it. I don't play with the grass fields as much because we tend to have a lot of time, and as you can see, like, the hay was laying around and we didn't need to worry about it. So I've got a trailer of wood stuck in the fence. I was trying to deliver it, and somehow the trailer got hooked on a post. I'm not quite sure what I'll do there, but I saw the worker finish, and I didn't want to have time just letting him sit in the field. I wanted to at least get this done and get the fertilizer picked up. So right now I've just got one tree. I've got an elm on there that I was going to get over to the sawmill, which is over there to the right, and get that moving on the planks, but you can see it's kind of hung up even though I'm disconnected, so not entirely sure the best way or how I'm going to resolve that, but I'll worry about that later. Well, it'll be right after this, but you know, I want to get done what I had said I would get done with this, so that we're at least not playing with these laying around here anymore. Alright, so these should now pick up. Again, there's one that's 1,000 and one that's 500, so and once this is done, I can leave it here. I don't really have a need to do it. So I'm going to go back and keep playing with the trees, and I'll join you in a bit. Okay, I'm thinking, well, this will be the last load I'm taking over for sure, even if it's not giving me 19,000 liters. I have a little over 14,000 liters over there. Now it's also processed probably a few hundred, because I think I had like 4,100 or 4,200 liters of planks, and I'm up to like 4,600 liters, and it generates more. You know what, now that I'm thinking about it, because yeah, I think it's 3 liters of wood generate 4 liters of planks. I think I went the opposite direction, so I actually probably had enough already. But we'll go ahead and we'll put this in here because in the end it doesn't matter, and we have like 7,000 liters of wood in the furniture factory and the carpentry, so if I need more furniture later, I already have some, where here if I have just enough and I put more over there, like it's going to be probably a less likely outcome, where here I'll just have each facility kind of primed with extra wood to begin with. So the question is, yeah, am I going to get another? So you can see we have 14,324. And yeah, now we got 21,000. So yeah, we got another just under 7,000 liters. But this is more than enough now to get that done. I don't know if that's the wood chip facility or whatever. I've not used that one. But yeah, this will now churn out the planks and get me closer to the 20,000 liters of wood that I need, because I needed, again, about 14,000. And like I said, I worked it out, I think, backwards, where I'm like, well, I need 18,000 liters of wood. But no, that probably would be more accurate, that if with 18,000 liters of wood, or 14,000 liters of wood, I'm going to get 18,000 liters of planks. So I think I was fine the other way, and now I'm going to get, I have enough probably to get 25,000 liters of wood or something like that. But we've gotten rid of a good amount, and the positive of this, even though I don't really enjoy the logging, I mean, there's ways in the game, which is nice if you have things you don't enjoy in some cases, that you can do them, and logging is really one of them. Now again, it does require some mods, because super strength isn't built in the game. The lumberjack mod that does some of those things, which include just using the chainsaw on a stump to remove the stump, so that way, when you're clearing the field, it's really clear, because obviously if the stump is still in the ground, it's almost as bad as having the tree. The only difference is you don't have the branches that are hooking onto your equipment that span things, but it's still a problem. So you can see that row, kind of the left side of the shed, that grass, that was all trees. So I've got the one at the end. I had a decision to make. I could either take that one out toward the end, which is certainly near the field, but my last one I did is I ended up taking out the one here in the corner, because invariably, once again, when I'm using courseplay and it's turning, it gets stuck on this tree in the corner all the time. And while it does get stuck on that tree, it's kind of clear of the far corner of the field. So my next group, if I do it, is, yes, I'll certainly take that one, and then I would do the ones in between, which are a little easier to avoid because I'm not going across the fields ever. I'm going up and down. So it's really only things like the harvester that might stick out and could do without the trees. But if I need more wood, which I will, at one point I need to sell that 42,000 liters or whatever of wood that we have at level 16. And what I was pointing out or talking about earlier that I hadn't finished was, when you own a production, you don't get the cash for it. So if you notice, like when I put the wood into the sawmill, like I got credit for putting wood into the sawmill, but I got no money for it, because it views it as, well, you're using the production, which the pricing structure of things out of the production is they cost more than the raw materials, which is obviously kind of a standard of production in general. Like if it cost you more in raw materials than what you sold finished products for, obviously businesses would fail immediately, and those things wouldn't happen. So just the nature of economics dictates that I need to recover my labor. I need to do whatever, or I'll choose to use my labor other ways. So at this point, I mean, what I can do, I think that's what I'll do, is I can do the grape juice and I can run the soybeans over. So I guess I'll jump back in here, we'll head down to the GPU. And so I think I'll do that, and that will be the end of my work in this episode. That should be more than enough stuff to share, and it kind of avoids the weird spot that I was thinking I'd be in, is I could just jump ahead a few days and be like, all right, the barley's ready, and then start harvesting the barley. But then it's like, where do I cross that line of the episode has become insanely long versus not. So this actually works well because these are nice packaged points where I'm just going to go ahead and deliver, and we'll get those couple things done. More importantly, I think for both of them, because again, they're not going into a production facility as I talked about, we're going to get some additional income, so that's going to just add more pounds into our account here. And obviously we'll be depleting that when we buy the cereal mill, but I'm not sure I want to do that yet. So I mean, realistically, if I want to like max out the money, I should wait until I'm in level 16, and then there's a requirement to give the cereal mill like some wheat, and then I need cereal or something. And so it's like, if I don't own the cereal mill at the time I give it wheat, I'll get paid for the wheat I put in. But then the downside of that is now I need to sit and wait for the cereal to be produced. So what I was talking about way back, and I do apologize, I do understand I go off on tangents a lot and it can be hard to follow, but what I was talking about and thinking about back then that I didn't articulate clearly is strawberries are also in that level. And given that the greenhouses have continually been my long pole in the tent to getting things done, I may be sitting around waiting for strawberries anyway. And so the argument then is, well, if that's the case, then I should just not wait to buy the cereal mill till then. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and I may wait. But in the interim here, I'm going to get this grape stuff loaded. And once I've got that done, because this is going to take a bit of time even this way, then I will pop back and we'll go deliver it. Alright, so 9,072, as you can see, as normal, things don't come out in sequence per se, so raisins started coming out in between. I had to move them, and you know, I don't have any grape pallets sitting there, so it's possible, like, I literally just had enough grape juice, which is kind of what I would want. So again, it comes out, I think, in 432 liter crates. But the grapes here need to go to Stu's farm shop, which is up here. So I've got to drive all the way back to the north. And so at this point, I've got 4,700 liters of grapes, because I stopped production because I think I do have enough raisins for what I need. And then what I don't want to do is like overproduce raisins, let's say, and then suddenly grape juice comes up. Like, it would be a shame to waste 4,700 liters of grapes to produce something that my VIPs aren't asking for. So that's kind of the hedge of the bet I do. And so that's kind of talking about going back to the sawmill about overloading the productions. Like, at some point, what I really need to pay attention to, but I invariably am terrible at because I'm more focused on doing the work that's right in front of my face, as I think a lot of people would be, is I kind of forget that the passive production is still over there running, and suddenly when I decide to check it, I realize I've got 5,000 liters more of something than I need. Now, there is one thing. I mean, certainly I would love Farming Simulator to more realistically represent volumes of material, because talking about planks with liters is stupid. You know, it should be either weight, like, you know, give it to me in pounds or kilograms, give it to me in just linear feet of wood is I think how it's really measured in the real world. You know, and I understand that introduces a lot of complexity, and the game's got to keep track of like what units of measure are used for what product, but to some degree it does that in some cases. But it does tend to convert things to liters. And so, like I said, you know, that's where it gets confusing, because like if I look at pallets, they're being reported to me in pieces, and I get some of these are mods that are working with the data the game provides, but I'm assuming if the game had better data, the modder would have used it. And so it tells me I have X number of eggs, but then, like, when I'm wanting to sell it, I go sell it in liters, which again, make no sense. I mean, normally it would be, how many dozen eggs do you want? And then, you know, a pallet would be however many dozen it is. And once again, like you know, even if I had to do the math and it literally gave me pieces, because obviously hens don't always lay exactly a dozen eggs with a batch of hens, so, you know, I might have 18 eggs. Well, that's 1.5 dozen. I mean, at least if I've got to do a conversion, have me do a conversion in a similar unit of measure that makes sense. But, you know, in essence, using liters, which for the most part is a liquid measure for things that aren't liquid, like, say, raisins. You know, grape juice is liquid. They come from grapes, but raisins aren't liquid unless you do something to them. And then they're, you know, arguably not raisins anymore. So they're raisin puree at best, or raisin juice. Alright, so this should, again, start taking things. There we go. So we needed 9,000 liters, so we should have a green order in a moment, because we're 72 over. There we go. So 45,000, and so that's the thing, that 48,000 that I just got for selling that grape juice, whatever I would get for the wood, I'm not going to get that money. So in this case, like if this was a production site and I was taking grapes, and I don't remember, I don't think we have, you know, probably because of the age limit of the game, we don't have alcohol producers in the base game. I think some people have created things like wineries and breweries and so forth, but you know, if I took the grape juice and I had a winery, although again, that's not how wine works, I guess. If you turn it into grape juice, you're past the point where it would have been wine, because you haven't fermented it and now it's grape juice instead of having the alcohol content. But anyway, I'm overcomplicating it, which again is something I want to do pretty regularly. And you know, if I was taking those grapes, instead of getting 48,000 for the grapes, I would get 0, because those grapes would then be turned into wine. Now the argument on the other end is, well, but when you sell the wine, it's going to be, you know, 100,000 pounds for the 48,000 pounds of grapes that you didn't get paid for, so that it's at the end of the production chain you get your money. So I understand that, but there's still a little bit of a, hey, if I can, like with the cereal mill, at least once, let me get paid for the wheat, and then let me turn that wheat into cereal and get paid for the cereal too. But, you know, let me get the little bit of extra money for the wheat. And again, when we talk about it, I mean, it's 45,000 liters of wheat. Wheat's usually $200-300 a thousand. I mean, we're talking about $10,000, you know, $10,000-12,000 that I'm worried about in the grand scheme of things, or pounds, again, here in England, as I'm playing here in Riverview. But so I'm going to load up the soybeans. I'm going to go and get them to the place I need to sell them, and I'll have you join me there, and then I think we'll do the wrap-up. But at this point, even though, you know, we've had most of the day go by, I don't think, oh no, we do have our pallet of lettuce has appeared. I'm like, I don't think we got the last greenhouse giving me lettuce yet, but I'll see you in a bit. Alright, part of the challenge here getting to Moondogs is just, it's a pretty steep road things get held up once in a while, and it gets kind of busy. So, still not there, but yeah, just trying to think through like what I've done. I've gotten sheep with feed, so they're producing wool. So that was the new thing I needed, and then obviously I've gotten wood over to the sawmill to produce planks. So once we get to Moondogs and start fulfilling this VIP order, just gonna kind of double check and talk through what we've got going on with what we've learned with level 16, because you know right now really canola is the thing that's holding me up, but it's going to be a while till I get there. So part of what there is to determine is next time are we where we need to be. Alright, so this now should go here in the pit as opposed to the pallet that we delivered earlier. And it's always the test of does the pop-up window come up? It does. So I mean the other thing we could potentially do is move some of the canola, but I'm not going to do that because it doesn't make a lot of sense at this point, but there we go. So another 80,000. So I mean between those two we've done about 120,000 just to be, you know, do easy math. But it's more than that. You know, and now we're at 2.25 million, so 2.25 million pounds. So absolutely in excellent shape. Because one of the things I've talked about is, you know, what do I do when I'm done here with Riverview? When I've gotten to level 20 and either seen it or done it, I may want to move, and I need money to do that. Alright, so we've got planks. We've talked about wood. We won't get paid for that. So yeah, actually not getting the cereal early doesn't matter. Forget it. It's the wood that we need to deliver to the sawmill, and we own that, and we need to create planks. So wool we're creating, strawberries come out of the greenhouses, and as we said, cereal needs the production facility. So at some point soon what I'll probably do is pick that up. It doesn't look like it cares what kind of cereal I provide, but maybe cereal just uses one kind of input, or maybe you can use different grains and you still just produce cereal. Like the output might always be cereal, kind of like I can take different products, put it into a fermenting silo, and the output is always silage regardless. So it may work. Whoops, what did I... Oh, a car. I'm like, I didn't hit a tree or anything. Yeah, we'll look at that, because I think initially I was thinking, oh, I might have a little extra barley I can keep feeding the chickens. I don't know that I need to, and once again, I don't want to waste that, because now I'm going to need it for cereal probably. So the sooner I know what that looks like, and more importantly, the sooner I get producing, the less likely it'll be that I'll be waiting. But once again, with 113,000 liters of strawberries is I think what I saw there. Just think about that. I can move 18,000 liters a trailer. That means I need like 7 or 8 trailer loads. That is a lot of strawberries. I don't think I've moved... I think I've used like a fraction of a fourth, you know, because I've gotten to like 60,000 or 70,000, but this is like 50% more than that. And so this, again, I think is what we're going to start to see and start running into as we progress further and deeper in with our VIPs, as their demands are going to get higher and higher. The rewards get lower and lower, and once again, that, you know, the argument always is, just like now, I got paid 120,000 pounds on top of whatever bonus they're going to give me for doing that. So it's truly a bonus what they're giving me in most cases. It's just like, again, the wood that I'm giving to the sawmill, that's where I'm foregoing that income in the future, because it's you know, being turned into something. but once again, I usually stop the production. And even if I don't, I could always keep the production going and then sell planks or take planks over and create furniture. Because I can do that in the carpentry as opposed to just taking raw wood, for example. But that gets us to what we can do today. So I'm going to get back to the farm and park it. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you haven't liked the video already, please do so. I greatly appreciate it. It gets visibility out to the channel. We're slowly growing. We've exceeded 800. I'm going to knock on wood, but I'm hoping we've hit that tipping point. We're at, I think, 810 subscribers this morning. There's usually a little attrition where people decide, channel's not for me, and they unsubscribe, so sometimes I'll see numbers go down, but I'm hoping once we've gotten 10 above, even with that normal bounce and natural erosion that happens, like we'll stay above 800, but my big milestone is 1,000 is the next really big one, and so I'm working toward that. So if you haven't subscribed, if you do me that kindness, that would be wonderful too, and that way you can more easily find the channel and see the content I put out. And hopefully some of it will be of entertainment to you. I definitely have a lot. I would say, I think out of the channels that a lot of folks watch, I'm certainly probably the most prolific in content at this point, because I try to make sure I have something for you every day. Right now it's a lot of golf, so it might not be something you're interested in, but hopefully over time, just staying informed, if something comes up, then at least you'll more easily see it. So I encourage you to subscribe if you've at all liked anything I put out, because chances are I'm going to stay kind of the same, and if you like one thing, you might like another. So why not give it a try and help out the channel? So with that, another day ends here in Riverview, and I will see you next time.